Morning as we go to the Chitas of today. We're holding in the Parshat B'Shalach. We're holding in the book of Exodus, chapter 13, verse number 17. But B'Shalach when the Keita passed the Pharaoh sent the nation. And the Eibishter God did not lead them derech eretz Plishtim through the land of Philistines. Because it was very close. Because God said, at least the people will see the war, there'll be a war, and they'll return to Egypt. Now she says, he did not lead them, similar to lead the people. When they walk, it is easy to return to the land of Egypt. There's many midrashim regarding this, because this would have been logically the most fastest, easiest way. For instance, the war of Amalek and the Canaanites descended, as latest told in the Torah. If they were gone direct route, they would have returned. Now, and the proof is, now when they led them around a circular route, that they let us appoint a leader and return Egypt, how much more would have been planned to do this if you had led them in a direct route? They'll have a thought, on what they went out, and they'll take the heart to go back. And God led the people. He took them through the desert. Through the Red Sea, and the Jewish people went out armed. Chamushim is armed. That's the simple meaning of Chamushim. He took them from the direct route to a circuitous route. Yamsuf, Yamsuf. It's not to the Yamsuf, to the Red Sea. It means Suf in general means the marsh where reeds grow. So it's the edge of the sea. Chamushim elam mizumonim. Chamushim means that they armed. Since he led them around the desert, he caused them to go armed. For if he had led them through civilization, they would not have to pride themselves with everything that they need. But only part like a person who travels from place to place, intend to purchase there whatever he needs. He doesn't have to take stuff with him. He's making stopovers. But if he travels a long distance in a desert, he must prepare all necessities for himself. This is what the verse was written to clarify a matter. How did they wander? If you want not to wonder, how did they get weapons to war with Amalek and the war with Sichon and Og and Midian? All these wars that they did, where did they get weapons from? The Israelites smote them with the point of a sword, as it says. Similarly, the scripture says, shall cross over Chamushim in Joshua. And so an uncle rendered Zurazim. They were armed, Zoris. That's the simple interpretation. Another interpretation, Chamushim, is divided by 5, meaning that only one out of 5, 1/5 of the Jewish nation went out of Mitzrayim, and 4/5 of the Jewish nation died in the days of darkness. Chamushim, the Jewish people left Mitzrayim, Chamushim 1/5. Moshe Rabbeinu took the bones of Yosef, Imai with him. Because he made the Jewish people vow. God will take you out of here. He'll remember you. And take my bones with you. Now she says, why is it a double expression of vowing? Yosef made his brothers swear that they would make their children swear. Now, why did he not make his sons swear to Kadamar to the land of Canaan when he died immediately? As Yaakov did, because he just said, I was a ruler in Egypt, and I have the ability to do so. As for my sons, the Egyptians would not let them do it. Therefore, he made them swear that when they go out of Mitzrayim, they would take him with. With you, he made his brother swear in this manner. Why? From here we know that all the tribes went out of Mitzrayim. All the 12 tribes were carried throughout the desert years in a casket. Each tribe carried their ancestor, their father, Reuven, Shimon, Levi, and that's why you can find all the grave sites of all the Shvatim in Eretz Yisrael today, because they were carried out of Mitzrayim. Each one of the Shvatim, the original sons of Yaakov. Yisur, the difference was that Yosef Atzmis, so Yosef came out as bones, and the tribe, the rest of the brothers actually came out as they did not decompose. And they traveled from Sukkot, and they camped in Esam. At the edge of the desert. Yashi says, and the second day, first day they came from Ramses to Sukkot. And then on the second day, on the 16th of the month, they traveled from Sukkot to Ramses. From Sukkot to the sea. And God was going before them in the morning, by day. With a cloud. To show them the way. And at nighttime with a pillar of fire. To show them, to give them light. Because they traveled day and night. Now she says, Lan Choisam, the Lamed is vocalized with a Patach, Lan Choisam, which is given to Lahan Choisam, to show them on the way that they shall go, in which they like Lahareschem. Here also it means the course to lead. Lahan Choisam, through a messenger. Now, who was the messenger? It was the pillar of cloud. The Holy One, blessed be He, in His glory, led them. In any case, it was the pillar of cloud that appeared so that they'd lead by it, and they would travel by the pillar of cloud. And the pillar of cloud was not meant to provide light, but to direct them the way. This pillar of cloud did not lead them by day, and the pillar of fire at night. Now she says, the Holy One, blessed be He, did not move away the pillar of cloud by day or the pillar of fire by night. This verse tells us that the pillar of cloud transmitted its light to the pillar of fire, and the pillar of fire transmitted its light to the pillar of cloud. But while one was not yet set, the other one did not rise. Chapter 14, verse number 1. God told to Moshe, saying, tell the Jewish people, they should turn around, make a U-turn, and they should encamp in front of Pi Hachiros, Bein HaMigdal, being between Migdal or Bein Hayam, and between the sea. Lefnei Baal Tzifoin, they should encamp in front of Baal Tzifoin. So see what Rashi says. They should encamp opposite it by the sea. Now she said to the rear, they should make a U-turn. They approached nearer to Egypt during the entire third day in order to mislead the Pharaoh, so that he would say, they're lost, they're going lost, they're going in circles. That is Pisayim, one of the cities that was built by the Jews, but now was called Pi Hachiros, since there the Jews became free men, Bnei Chaydim, so they gave him the name Pi Hachiros. The Chiros, are the two high rocks. They came to a place, they traveled between two mountains and because of this, the valley, they were stuck in the middle of a valley. So now that's why the whole thing that Jewish people were stuck between a rock and the sea, because they went through a narrow valley between two big mountains, and they came to the sea. On top of this mountain was Baal Tzifoin. This was lefty. There was a big deity that was on top of this mountain. It was called Baal Tzifoin. And this Egyptian deity, in order to mislead them, the Egyptian, so that they would say the deity, that look at the Jews, the God is draining them a cup. Look, they're making a U-turn. They're stuck. They have a sea in front of them. They're stuck in a valley. And they have to now either go forward or backwards. And therefore the Pharaoh will say about the Jewish people, they are trapped in the land. The desert has closed upon them. They hear the Jews are turning back. So basically, they have no choice. They saw Albany, so consider the children of Israel. They are like locked and sunk, and pressed, tight and squeezed. They're locked in the desert. They don't know how to get out, they don't know how to go. Verse 4, strengthen the heart of Pari. And he will chase after you. And I will show my glory through Pharaoh. And through his entire force. And then the Egyptians will know that I am God. And that's what they did. They turned around. Now she says, when the Holy One, blessed be He, wreaks vengeance upon the wicked, His name becomes magnified and glorified. As the Torah says, I will judge against them, and afterwards I will magnify and sanctify myself, and I will be known. Scripture, you find this many times. Yechezkel says that when he broke the arrows and the bows, which refers to Nanscherev, and afterwards, and God is known in Judah. So, Bezrat Hashem, that will happen again. Why the Pharaoh? Because he initiated this whole situation, and therefore the retribution starts with him. Why does the Torah tell us this? This is to tell us their praise, the Jewish people, that they obeyed Moshe and did not say, how will we draw near to our? What are you doing? Doesn't make any sense. You're going back to Egypt. We have to escape. Instead, we said, we'll follow Moshe. The Rebbe would say these words. Ein lanu ella divrei ben Amram. We follow our teacher. We follow our Rebbe. Ein lanu divrei Ram. We have the words of Ben Amram. And if Moshe Rabbeinu, called him Ben Amram, the son of Amram, if the son of Amram says, go right, we go right. If he says, go a circle, go a circle. Whatever Ben Amram says, we go. Verse 5, and then it was reported to the king of Egypt, the people have led, they're not coming home. And the Pharaoh and his servants, suddenly all the Pharaoh and his servants said, what's going on? Why do we send the Jews out of slavery? She says the Pharaoh sent officers with them, and as soon as the 3 days set out to go into the desert and return, elapsed, the officers saw that they're not coming home. They came back to inform the Pharaoh on the 4th day. On the 5th and 6th day, days when after the Jews departed, they pursued them. On the night preceding the 7th day, which is the Shmini Atzeres, not what's called the Achar Pesach. Shvi Pesach is the day we celebrate the crossing of the sea. That's when the Jews sang the song Oz Yoshe on the 7th day of Pesach. Therefore, we read the Torah, the song on the 7th day of Pesach. We read the Oz Yoshe. We read this Pasha B'Shalach. We read on the 7th day of Pesach. Pharaoh had changed his heart. Now he left them previously, and he said to them, "Get up and get out amongst my people." His servants also had changed their heart, because previously they said, how long will this be a stumbling block? Now they changed their heart to go and run after the Jews. And they counted the money. They wanted back their money. Of Deinu Ma'aveda Sana for serving us. Yes, the Pharaoh harnessed his chariots, and he took his nation with him. Yes, he showed his nation, we're going to go. I'm going to harness my own chariot. He tracted them with words. We suffered. They took our money, and then we let them go. Come with me, and I'll not behave as other kings. With other kings, it's commonly that the servants precede the battle. I'll go in front of you. And Pharaoh drew near. This is what means that Pharaoh himself drew near to hasten before his armies. It's customary for kings to take plunder at the beginning, as much as the king chooses. Pharaoh said, I'll give everything to you. You shall keep the booty. You'll go there. You'll take all the leftovers. And he took 600 selected chariots. and all the chariots of Egypt, and the officers over all of them. Now she says, Bachan of Chorim. This is its expression, a singular, meaning every single chariot in this number was chosen. With all of them, the rest of the chariots. Now, where did the animals come from? If you say that they belonged to the Egyptians, already said that the livestock of the Egyptians died. If you say it belonged, change to Israel, it says that the cattle with them. Who were they? They belong to those who feared the word of the Lord. So in the beginning, there were those who who put their cattle into the barns that we mentioned last week's parsha, 2 weeks ago actually. To those drove the servants, the livestock to the houses. So here, Rabbi Shimon said, here they believed in God, and they took their horses and everything. They put it into the barn because they were afraid of God's punishment. But here suddenly they're using all them to go do the opposite. So therefore, the Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai said, the best of an Egyptian you must kill. The best serfman you should cut his head. Have no value. Lishmal Kula Yisari Tzaves, officers of legions. And the Lord hardened the heart of Pharaoh. Mitzrayim, the king of Egypt. Yidav Bnei Yisrael, he chased after Jewish people. Bnei Yisrael Yetzu b'Yad, and the Jewish people went out with an outstretched hand. Hashem, because he vacillated about it, to pursue it or not, the Eibishter hardened his heart and pushed him to do it. Yad Rama b'Gvura Gavoya, with a high hand, with a lofty and openly displayed might. That completes the Chumash for today. We now go to the 20th chapter of Tanya. It's well known. Commandment to believe in God, unity, and the admonition concerning idolatry, which is the two mitzvahs, the first two mitzvahs in the Ten Commandments. Which are the two first mitzvahs in the Ten Commandments. I'm God, your God. There's Emunas Hashem. Belief in God. You shouldn't have other gods. That's really comprises the entire Torah. If you want to know what the Torah is the connection of God, and God forbid the separation of God. The word, the commandment, I am God, your God, has within it all the 248 positive commandments. I do every mitzvah because I believe the Eibishter is God. And therefore, what he wants, I will do because I want this connection with him. And you shouldn't have any other gods. That is basically the principle of all negative commandments. 365 negative commandments. That every negative commandment, be it what it may be, is a separation with God. You're creating another God. Therefore, when it came to the Ten Commandments, we heard from the Eibishter. The Gemara says we heard from God the first two commandments. We heard the first two commandments from God. Levad, directly, from the Eibishter, from God himself. It's brought down that the first two commandments are said by God, and because they started to die, they passed out by hearing God's voice, and therefore the first two commandments were heard by God, and the rest was heard by Moshe Rabbeinu, by the other 8 commandments. The other 8 commandments in the 10 commandments is by Moshe Rabbeinu, and the rest of them also. As our sages said, because in these first 2 commandments you have the entire Torah. Thus, we actually heard the entire Torah from God himself. So therefore, we heard the Torah from God because the first 2 commandments are the entire Torah. For all commandments are contained within these 2, as particularly within a generalization. Therefore, just as one loves God, motivates him to obey those 2 commandments, even at the expense of his life. And therefore, I would never not do a mitzvah, and should never do an Aveda. It may always serve as a motivator to observe all commandments. However, this concept requires further clarification. Why should all positive precepts be considered an affirmation of God's unity? And why should all prohibitions be a manifestation of idol worship? Idol worship is the worst Aveda. So why would all Avedas, every simple Aveda in the Torah, every simple sin in the Torah suddenly means a concept of idol worship? Idol worship is idol worship. It's the worst thing. You put your life on for idol worship. You have to give your life away for idol worship. You don't have to give your life away, even for other Avedas, other sins. To illustrate this idea by a parable of a king who enters the land and was requested by the populace by the people to provide them with a system of law. To this the king replied, "First accept me as your king. Afterwards, I'll issue my decrees. I'll put a schedule. I will make rules and regulations." The same way, belief in one God constitutes the foundation upon which all commandments are built. If you don't believe in God, why are you following His commandments? Why should the two commandments regarding God's unity be considered the sum total entire Torah, or all the commandments being merely extension? So Alter Rebbe says a beautiful mashal, but we're going deeper than that mashal. We're going deeper. We're saying that the aspect of the unity of God is the entire Torah. So the Alter Rebbe says that the explanation is based on a deeper understanding in the concept of the unity of God. God's unity means not only that there is but one creator. God's the king. He's the creator. But that God is the only existing being. True existence is God. And therefore, by connecting true existence, I myself connect myself, and I become a concept. I become part of true existence. If I connect myself to anything else, then I've lost my true existence. All of existence is absolutely nullified before Him and completely one with Him, because God is the true existence. Nothing else exists. Everything else exists because of God. God exists because He exists. So that's why God is true existence. Therefore, one acts in defiance of God's will, as expressed by the commandments. He sets himself apart from God as though he was separate, independent entity. I have my own existence. But that's a sheker. So that's why he's called a fool. A person that does a sin is simply a fool, because he thinks that he has existence out of one's true existence. You don't. There's no such thing. The Eibishter is the existence. Everything else exists because of Him. And you're saying, no, I exist without God. I can exist without Him. That's for sure. This constitutes denial of God's unity. That's the meaning of God's unity. Shem Echad means that the Eibishter is one with everything, because nothing would be here without God's unity. The world would not exist without His existence. And transgression is therefore considered as an idolatry. Therefore, every Aveda, God forbid, that I do is denying God's existence. And that is sheker. That's why I fall into falsity. Because basically, it's a lie. You're living a lie. This Alter Rebbe now explaining detail. In order to elucidate this matter, we have to first understand what is the idea of the essence and the unity of God, which God is called one and unique. Meaning, must understand the essential meaning of the phrase, which lends to the various interpretations that there's only one God, one creator, and He is the one being, not compounded by various powers. And so what does that all mean? It's all nice words. All that believe that He is one alone. Now, after creation, I don't know. We say that people don't realize that they're saying these deep concepts in a simple prayer, which you say every day. Adon Olam Hashem Alach B'Terem Kol Yitzu Nivra V'Hu Haya V'Hu Yiveh V'Hu Yiyeh B'Sifra. This is very deep. We sing it. Adon Olam. Everybody sings like a child song. This is not a child song. This is a very extremely deep concepts in our davening. And if you understand this prayer alone, this is exactly what the Alter Rebbe is saying. But we sing it as a song in shul. So the Eibush is what exactly as he's before. He was created and he was previously alone, since nothing else had yet come into being. So too now, just like the Eibush is alone, so to say. He's one and unique. Before creation, everybody can understand it. Before creation was God. Now that there is creation, there's still God. Nothing has changed. Creation didn't change anything in God. And that's what a person has to realize. Because as humans, anything that is created changes. When I have a child, life changes. Everything changes. When he has it, things change. The world changed. In many ways, the world itself changed over time and history. Baruch Hashem. The Eibush never changed. No concept by God changed because God is existence. Can be changed. As we say, and we say in the prayer book on davening, you are who was before the world was created, and you are who is since the world was created. The meaning of this prayer passage were, if this meaning passage were that God is eternal without beginning or end, it could have said simply, you are before the world was created, you were before, that would have been a better statement. You were before the world was created. Why did it say you are after the world was created? Why the statement you are was who was after created? The point of the prayer is Pirush hu mamish b'lishum shinui. The emphasis provided by the repeated phrase "you are he" means that you're exactly the same, he, so to say, before and after creation, without any change. The Siv, as the expression says, "Ani Hashem leisha nisi." I am God. I have no change since creation. God is still one alone, despite the presence of a myriad of beings. As the Alter Rebbe goes on, it doesn't make difference to worlds, these great worlds, all these spiritual worlds, all these physical worlds, garnished. It's nothing. This world, and likewise all the supernal worlds, does not make any change. In the unity of God. When he created them from something, from nothing to something. Just like God was alone, single, unique, before they were created. So too God is single, unique, after they were created. How can that be? What is the creation that gives besides him? What? The answer is because right now, they were nothing before creation, and they're nothing now at the same time. All is not besides him. Ka'ayin, as if they're absolutely non-existent. To the Eibishter, the world is not existence. The only reason why they're in existence, because he wants them to be in existence. They're not existent because they exist on their own. Their existence is because God's existence, and therefore they're not, they have no existence. Which is really hard for us to understand, because everything, even that the most wonderful thing that we create is a human being, another child, but ultimately has his own existence. Baruch Hashem. And even after the passing of the parents, the child exists, and he has his own children. By the Eibush, nothing exists out of God's existence. And the Alter Rebbe is going to go more deeper into this concept. But this is where the Tanya ends today. Today is the 11th day of the month, which is chapter 60 to chapter 65. If you do those 6 chapters, you do the Tillim of the day. I invite you all today. There's not Talmud Torah in Chabad, so we're going to meet all today at Chabad at 10 a.m. And you're welcome to come and continue to learn Chassidus and continue to learn Tanya, Kabbalah at 10 a.m. at the Chabad house. I wish you all a wonderful and beautiful day. In the midst of tomorrow, we'll continue the Chidas. Have a wonderful